everybody, and welcome once again to Pacer Sports Live, here live from Mellow Mushroom in downtown in the alley at Aiken, South Carolina. We'd just like to say thank you to the Mellow Mushroom crew for letting us be on location here tonight to bring you the second episode of Pacer Sports Live. I'm here with Coach Mark Miller, Coach Mark Vanderslice, and Coach Kenny Thomas. And so tonight we're going to be talking about a bevy of things. We're going to talk to each of the coaches about their sports. We're going to talk to the guys about some of the other sports going on. And we're going to have a special feature with one of the athletes. We're going to talk to Jose Bonilla of the baseball team tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun out here tonight. Guys, how are we all doing tonight?
We're great. Doing great. We're excited to be here.
Absolutely. All right, Coach. So let's start off with you and women's basketball. So after what some would consider a bit of a slow start to the season, 2 straight losses there in the opening tournament, you guys have stormed back. You've won 3 straight, and you've looked very impressive while doing so. Just give us a bit of an update on the team and how you've been able to get things to mesh.
Well, you're right. That first weekend was a slow weekend for us, but we've gotten better. And our roles are starting to come together, and we're starting to learn how we need to play at this level. Really happy with our progress the last 3 games. I'm really pleased that we're holding our opponents to under 60 points the last 3 games, and that's really what our team is based on, is how hard we work and how we're going to guard people. And so we're getting better. We are still making baby steps, and each night is something new for us to get better at. We got a big game tomorrow at Johnson C. Smith. We got to be ready to go and ready to play against them. But I like where we are. Our players are getting better. We're getting more consistent. Kyrie Chandler is coming into our own. Emily Waters has been playing really good down the stretch here lately. So we're just excited, and we're pleased with where things are going.
Okay. And, as you mentioned, you had that big matchup against Johnson C. Smith, and then after that is when PBC play starts to get into full swing. Is that something you're really looking forward to kind of test your team out?
Well, for us, it's one game at a time. We'll worry about Saturday, tomorrow night on our way home, but we got to take care of business tomorrow. It's another chance for us to come out and compete and get better and get us prepared for the tough, Peach Belt. So, one at a time, and we'll be ready to go come Saturday.
Okay, and so something that we talked about last time was that, your team is all new. They're all getting familiar with each other. Apart from, a handful of players, they're all new. So how is the cohesion and the chemistry coming along?
Better, much better. I think our roles, like I said earlier, have become a little more defined, and people are becoming comfortable in the roles, and so that, I think, has helped us be more consistent over the last 3 games. We beat 3 really good teams, so for us to be able to do that with a young team and a new team coming together is really exciting to see. For us, the challenge is going to be if consistently we can keep it at that level night in and night out. That's our challenge.
Absolutely, and you had that one game where you scored 28 baskets, on 21 of those had assists attached to them. So obviously, the team is starting to get to feel each other out a little bit more.
Right, we are. It's good that people know where they're supposed to be, and we're able to do it on a consistent basis. We really played well in the second half the other night with that. And anytime you can have 21 assists, on 28 field goals, it's been a good night.
Absolutely. And so kind of moving on, we're going to talk a little bit to Coach Vanderslice about men's basketball. And you had a similar experience. You dropped the opening contest to Payne, and that was a little disappointing. But since then, you've won 2 straight, and the team's looked very, very impressive. We saw in the interview after the Schwann game, you were really fired up. You were really happy about your team's progress in that one. So just talk to us a little bit about your team and how they're coming along.
Similar situation as women's basketball. We ended up losing the first game. It was a little out of character of who we were. We were, not to make excuses, but to make an excuse. We were 10 days removed from our last day of competition for a scrimmage. We played against a team that, in some respects, is considered a local rivalry in Payne, being 45 minutes down the road. So they had played 2 games. They had 2 games under their belt. They came in. They're ready to play. And anytime you play anybody that's local, there's going to be a heated rivalry that's involved. And so we dropped the ball. We laid an egg on that first game. But since we're in the middle of football playoff opportunity, I'll quote Nick Saban in saying, "Don't waste a failure," right? And so that's what we had. We had a failure that first game. But it's not something that we're going to try to forget about. We're going to try to remember it, know what that feels like, and that's pretty much a key to victory for the rest of the year, is if you might be the most talented team, but if somebody works smarter or somebody works harder than you, it's the great equalizer. And so we took that opportunity and we ran with it the next couple of games. We had a combination of X's and O's, adjustments and spacing, timing, that sort of thing within our offense. We talked some emphasis on defense, and we got better with some of our intangibles along the way. And I think we're clearing it up. And even though we do have 6 returners, we still are a work in progress as well. We want to make sure that we are one of the teams that is coachable, that wants to respond, that wants to grow, because every team at this stage in the year is going to get better. We're all growing at some rate. We just want to make sure that our rate of return is a lot higher than our opponents. And so, and we showed that. The first game against Payne, we scored 70 points. You know, that's not what we want to do. Our philosophy and our mantra is defense, rebound, and run. And to score 70 points is not who we are. The next 2 games, we scored 88 and 91 respectively. And so we're on the right track. We're getting better. I'm proud of the way we responded coming back from our first game, and now it's off to conference play against GSW on Saturday.
Absolutely. And as we were discussing last episode, we talked about how much more important the region victories were going to be now that the conference or the region tournament has changed up a little bit, or the conference tournament has changed up a little bit. And so you got a big win against Anderson. Can you talk about that victory a little bit and how you guys executed during that game?
Great win. I mean, it was one of those games that a lot of people don't realize unless you know our situation, but Jeff Brookman, the head coach at Anderson, and I go way back. While I was the head coach at Lewisburg, he was the head coach at Spartanburg Methodist. So we kind of know each other's tendencies a little bit more so than most of the coaches that we've played at this point in our tenure. I've only been in the Peach Belt for 3 years, and he's been in the SAC for 3. So we have a history of playing each other over the course of the last 7-8 years. And so that was a battle-tested game that I knew was going to be tough because he's a great coach. And they're fighting through some woes right now, but I don't care. We were going to take advantage of any opportunity that we had, and we were able to pull out a good road win. And I've always told our players that when you play a road game, you start the game out 10-0. You're down 10-0. All the variables that go into play, the referees, the momentum, the foreign court, the travel, all of that, equates to at least down 10 points. And so to battle back and win a road game is always difficult, and to do it against a good coach and a good team makes me a little bit more happy about it.
Absolutely. And so are the players, that you came into the season expecting to perform, have they performed up to your expectations thus far?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're growing, and they're getting not only am I getting a feel for them, but they're getting a feel for me. And they're getting a feel for each other. And it's not just on the court, but it's off the court. And so even though it's nice to at least have 6 or 7 returners, when you have 4 of those guys that are taking on the brunt of them, when you have 4 guys that are new that haven't played, taking on the brunt of the minutes, there's going to be more of a learning curve in the beginning of the year. And so we want to use last year's opportunities and examples to kind of to springboard us forward this year and grow at a much faster rate. Yeah, we laid an egg in the first game, but we hope that moving forward, we can respond at a much higher rate.
Absolutely. And so we're going to go ahead and move on and talk to you, Coach Thomas. Just kind of give us an update on baseball and how you guys are doing in the fall semester.
Well, we haven't hatched an egg or laid an egg yet, so that's a positive. But this is our last week. It's almost December, I believe, ain't it? What I tell you, we don't need but 2 more months. You got baseball year round. All we need is December and January. You got baseball year round. So we're getting pretty close to that. But we're in our last week of some workouts. We're in that little 8-hour week. 8 hours a week is all we're getting right now, and after 4 days off for Thanksgiving, I thought today the guys came out in a very short 35-40 minute workout and did a great job, and it was good to see Jose running around back out there in the outfield today. That was the first time that he's run full speed since he got hit with the pitch on September 19th, so that felt good today for me. What we're doing right now is going to matter February 2nd. Somebody called me this afternoon before I came over here and said, I don't think it's been about 62, 63 days till you open up. And I said, well, that's amazing, but that's probably about right. 65 days, I think it is. So baseball comes around quick. So we're excited. Looks like we might get a couple of transfer guys to add to our roster. I don't usually do that in January. Never been a big fan of that, but can't tell any secrets. But these guys would, I would be a fool, probably fooler that I am, not to take these two. So it's an exciting time for us. I mean, we're just, it's slow but short. But a lot of good instruction we're doing with the guys right now and learning a lot, getting ready for February 2nd.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about some of the injuries that you've been dealing with. How are those players coming along, and are they on the right track to getting ready for the season?
Brooks Calvo has really been slow coming back from Tommy John. That's kind of been a little concerning this fall. He started out, he had surgery in March last year. And we've had another guy, Philip Watcher. He had his surgery in August. So his has been a little over a year, but Brooks Calvo had his a year ago March, in other words. So he's like 16, 17, what is that? I'm not a mathematician, 18 months ago. And he's still not throwing yet. So that's a little concerning. He came back and started throwing early in the fall and even went out and threw 1 inning in inter squads, but then he had pain again, so they've shut him down for 3 or 4 more weeks. That's a little concerning, but hopefully he'll be fine by January. He's got to be throwing in January if he's going to pitch this year. He has to be throwing by January, so that's a little concerning. Jordan Brown's come back from arm injury pretty good. He's thrown pretty well. He had surgery last year too, so he's doing pretty well. Philip Watcher's doing really well. Jose, like I said, seeing him back running around the outfield tonight, this afternoon felt pretty good. I think he's going to be full steam here in 2 or 3 weeks, and you're going to interview him later on. But as I told him, he's got to spend his December really busting his tail to get back because he's missed 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah. Coach, have we had any more players on carnival rides or anything?
We're trying to keep them off the fair rides.
Okay, I was wondering.
It's very important, and I want to stress to all the other coaches at USC.
Hopefully we don't have any more fairs anytime soon.
No, do not travel to no fair, because
Okay.
Brian Pereira is the fair king. I don't understand when you're 6'4" why you crawl in a cage that your head hits the top of it when you get in it. But he did, but he's well, man. He's doing good. Matter of fact, he's swinging pretty good right now. Maybe we ought to fair them all out there a little bit. He's swinging it pretty good. We got some new T-shirts today too. Honey, fried buns for runs. You guys know what that means,
Yes,
don't
we
you?
do. Yes,
There's
we
a thing
do.
called fried honey bun out here that somebody serves.
Some genius serves.
And some reason, some of our guys started eating them on Fridays during inter-squad time, and the guys that ate fried honey buns with ice cream on them, hit home runs that day. So they've got them some new T-shirts. Fried buns means runs. Got a big old fried honey bun on the front of it. You ought to see that thing.
It's a good look. Well, who do I got to talk to about getting one of those for myself?
You don't need
We
one.
have to hang them up out here.
Yeah, we need to bring him.
We're going to show up Friday first.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's show up Friday first.
Show up Friday. We'll tell y'all about it.
Absolutely. Sounds like a good idea.
And there's a table there on Friday.
Special table. You can't get there the first week. You
No.
can't get in the special table the first week.
Once you get to that table, we'll just tell you, it's called the Liar's Table.
Oh, okay.
There's a few people that tell fictitious stories there. I
Lots
don't
of
know who they
stories.
are. I really don't know who they are. But it's a great time on Friday.
Yes, it
But
is.
fried buns means runs. That's the new T-shirt they had on today.
Anytime I want a good practice, we give out T-shirts in the lockers. That's what we do. We get their attention. We want a good practice. We make sure that we have an inventory of T-shirts, right? We space them out. And when we want a good practice to get good motivation, perk them up a little bit.
Put a new T-shirt.
We put a new T-shirt in their lockers before practice. We need a good practice, and that's what we do.
Hey, that's a good way to motivate the troops.
It's not honey buns for
No, I was
runs,
going to
but
say,
it's
it's not honey buns for runs.
but it's a good second place.
I mean, not everyone is blessed with such a great slogan, right? All right, so let's move on just a little bit. Let's talk about volleyball. So they're going to be in their regional tournament this weekend, and they're number 3 seed overall. Have you guys been keeping up with the volleyball team at all? Been watching any of their games? So just give us kind of your thoughts on where they stand in the regional play and kind of what you think is going to be their key to success down there.
Well, the thing what was surprising to me, I don't think the other sports do this, maybe so, but they played in their conference tournament almost 2 weeks ago before they started their region starts this weekend, I believe is right. And it was over 2 weeks ago when they played in their conference tournament. That's just I didn't realize that. That's kind of unique and different. Why would they have them set up like that to have 2 weeks off? And I guess if you got some injuries and everything, that's a good thing. But if you got momentum going, I wouldn't want to take 2 weeks off. I'd want to play. But I didn't notice that till the other day. I thought that's kind of strange. They don't play again in the region for 2.5 weeks. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it has been a very long gap.
I think once you get to this time of the year, in the regional play, it's up for grabs. I think somebody gets hot and gets on a roll, can go a long way. And I think that's where, obviously our volleyball team is trying to get on that roll for a couple days in a row and ride it and see how far you can go. I mean, they're as good as anybody in the region. It's just about getting them hot and getting them on the roll and, playing with confidence and staying healthy, like Coach said, or getting healthy. And just getting on the roll and playing and having fun. It's that time of the year when you're in the NCAA tournament, like it's fun. Like you got to make it fun. It's enough stress on you. Anyway, you got to make it fun, and you just got to get on the roll.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. They are going up against Georgia College, which was the team that beat them in the conference tournament, and they also suffered a loss to Georgia College late in the regular season. So it's interesting to see how they're going to match up with them in the high stakes rounds. This is the end of it all here, and so they'll be matched up with them in the first round. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. It's one everyone should tune into.
Sure.
All right. And so since we've gotten you guys all caught up with all the sports, we're going to go ahead and we're going to introduce our new segment, the Student Athlete Stories segment. We're going to interview Jose Bonilla about his injuries, his recovery, and just some more stuff that's going on in his personal life. It's going to be a fun segment, so we'd like to go ahead and introduce Jose now. So, hey, Jose, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome, man. So just talk to us a little bit briefly about, your injury and how you're coming along with that.
Yeah, so we got Scout Day, and I'm excited for Scout Day, and the last at bat that I was taking that day, I get hit in my fibula, and sadly, it broke my fibula. I want to be out there during the fall with my guys, with my teammates every single time, every single day out there practicing with them, and this is my last year. But they've been able to get me through this process. I was 5 weeks in a boot. I had to even sleep with it, and it's been tough. But thanks to my coaches and my teammates, I've been able to get through it. Yep.
And so you're coming along on schedule. You think you're going to be?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be able to be ready to go the first day of the season. Yep.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And so, kind of switching gears a little bit to talk to you about something a little bit more serious. You're from Aguada, Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico was hit a while back by the big storm Hurricane Maria, and you have family still in Puerto Rico. So, tell us a little bit about how that affected you and your experience with all of that.
Yeah. So Maria was September 19. Scout Day was September 19. So I lost communication with my parents early in the morning that day. So, but I was excited, Scout Day, my last Scout Day. So after everything that happened that day, I get injured. I can't hear from I haven't heard from my parents. I got a broken leg. It was tough. I didn't hear from them for a week. I was calling, checking Facebook, everything that I could do. But after a week, I was able to contact them through a landline phone that my grandma had. She had it. She's been having that for a long time. She hadn't used it, but we were able to. I was able to communicate with them through a landline phone. And right now, they just got the power a week ago, and they got the water back a week and a half ago. But they're my neighbors still don't have water or power yet. So it's tough right now. I mean, I've been able to communicate with them more now because the phone service is working now with some companies, but yeah, it's pretty tough right now over there.
And so, has all of that emotional stress, all of those things you've been going through, has that affected your path to recovery at all? Has it been hard for you to focus on that?
Yeah, it affected me a little bit because it's my last year in college, so I want to be out there. You know, I love baseball a lot, so I want to be out there, like practicing, doing whatever I can do with my teammates. But it kind of helped me a little bit in my classes. I was able to spend more time in my classes, and I actually got my grades up. So, I mean, it helped me out with the classes, but I wanted to be out there, you know, with my teammates. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And so, with all of the things that happened with the storm and everything, I mean, obviously you're happy to be here at USC Aiken, but did that kind of make it a little bit? Did you almost regret coming so far away from home for school, or was it more of a relief thing? How did that affect your decision on that?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
So the storm and everything, did that almost make you regret your decision to go to a school that was so far away from your home, or?
Well, no, because I'm here because I like baseball, and I could have stayed in Puerto Rico if I wanted. I'm studying biology. I could have stayed over there to study biology. They got good schools for that, but I really like baseball, so I wanted to. I don't regret my decision really. I know my parents know that I'm doing well here, you know, and they support me in my decision coming here. So yeah, I really don't regret my decision of coming out here.
That's awesome. And so we'd like to open it up for Coach Miller, Coach Vander, / Coach Thomas. If any of you guys have any questions for Jose.
Jose, I just got one question for you. What's it like every day playing for Coach Thomas? Like, give us that kind of story. You know.
Hey, I mean, I like it. I like it. He understands me as a player, and I understand him as a coach. So I feel we mix together pretty well. So I actually like playing for him. You know, I feel he trusts me on the baseball field, and that's what I like. Like, if a coach can trust me, I feel I can succeed on the baseball field. Yep.
You got any brothers and sisters?
I got one brother.
How old is he?
24. He's 24. His name is Christian.
Anywhere? Did he play baseball anywhere?
He plays soccer. He plays soccer in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He's about to graduate from college right now. He used to play soccer in college. He just finished last season playing soccer in college.
How often do you guys get a chance to communicate?
Oh, I'm always talking. Like, before this I was talking to I was like texting him, and I'm always talking to my family.
What's his name?
Christian.
Christian?
Yeah, Christian.
What's up, Christian?
What's up, Christian? That's good. You know, I'll have to tell you that the injury to Jose was devastating that night. Well, let's be honest. We had 30 scouts there, and every one of them came to see several players, but they all, I mean, some of them came to see individual players, but they all came to see Jose. So it was devastating. And then the same day, the hurricane hit. So I got to tell you, that week that went by that he didn't get to talk to his parents, I mean, he was in another place then. I don't mind telling you, he was in a different place. He was worried every day. He'd come in every day. I said, you got a dadgum boot on your foot or something. What is that? It's a boot. So, but it was tough. But I remember calling him a week later. It was on Sunday or something. I called him on Sunday night, and I called because I said, have you heard from your parents today? And he had just hung up with them. He had just hung up the phone with them. And the difference in his voice that night, you know, he just needed to, I mean, think about it. You got hit in the leg by 92. I said 82.
It was 92.
What was it?
It was 92.
82. Oh, 92.
It was 92.
And really? Then it broke. Yarborough threw that hard.
Yeah,
Yarborough threw that hard. But anyhow, he went down. That was devastating. Then he couldn't get a hold of his parents to tell me that he had broken that bone in his leg, and he didn't know where the hurricane, what it had done to his house. He didn't know where they were, what the situation. It was tough. It was tough, but he hung in there pretty good. And Jose's a good one now. I have different. I feel like I have a good relationship with all my guys. I love all my guys, and I have nicknames for all of them, you know, and funny things that I say about all of them. But Boot over here, you know, that black boot, that was kind of, you know, he held it on pretty good. I know he hated to miss all fall.
I'll tell you one of the hardest things, and it sounds like you're going through one of those situations, is when when you're hurt, when you're injured, sometimes you feel like you can't contribute and bring value to the team as much as you would like to. And it's hard when you have all those issues going on, you internalize. And I tell our guys all the time, you know, be an extrovert, especially in moments where you feel like it's tough times. So, you know, continue to keep bringing value and continue to keep contributing to your team by reemphasizing those same things that got you to the point where you're at right now.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I felt like I was going to the field like every single day after I got injured. I was like in the booth, like I felt like I couldn't contribute. There was nothing I could do for my team. I was just out there just watching them, and I'll say some stuff to the freshmen, like some stuff to improve them, but I really couldn't be out there with them to like show them how to do certain stuff, you know. Like I felt like helpless, or like for the team, you know. So yeah.
But it's all good. He'll be there.
He's coming back.
Most important, it's coming up. 69 days, is that what you said, Coach?
Something like that.
Something like that?
That clown that called me on the phone said 65. I don't know.
65 days, okay.
But he's a clown. He doesn't know if he's
65.
counting not. But
Right.
it was Mr. Teddy. He don't know. He can't count days.
Who knows?
Who knows?
So we'd like to say thank you,
Yeah, thank
Jose.
you.
We really
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. And so we're going to take a brief break, but we'll be right back after a brief word from PacerSports.com.
University of South Carolina-Aiken men's basketball standout Henry Bolton III has been named the Hudson Etheridge Company's and Auto Owners Insurance USC-Aiken Athletic Department Student Athlete of the Week. Bolton, a senior from Avon Park, Florida, led the Pacers to a 2-0 week. In the win at Anderson, he posted 11 points, snagged 5 rebounds, and dished out 3 steals for the 88-85 victory. In the home win over Shawan, Bolton poured in a season best and game-high 23 points on 9 of 13 shooting from the floor. He buried 3 of 6 from downtown and connected on both his charity tosses. For good measure, Bolton dished out an assist. For the week, he led the Pacers by averaging 17 points a game. The Hudson Etheridge Company's and Auto Owners Insurance USC-Aiken Athletic Department Student Athlete of the Week honors one student athlete each week for their hard work and effort.
Welcome back, everyone, once again to Pacer Sports Live here from Mellow Mushroom. We'd like to once again say thank you to all the student athletes who are coming out, all the people attending live. And again, another thank you to Mellow Mushroom for letting us be here on location. So to get things started off back from the break, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk to Coach Mark Miller. We're going to break down a new segment called The Coach's Story. So why don't we just go ahead and talk to Coach Mark Miller. Tell us kind of your story, your journey from, athlete to coach, or, just how you got to this point.
Well, as I said to somebody, I'm not sure it's an athlete's point of view, but for me, coaching started when I was a 6th grader. I obviously didn't realize it at the time. I was a manager for our high school basketball team. Coach Engel was our coach. So I did that for 3 years, and my freshman year was my first year that I coached my own team. I coached the 4th and 5th grade intramural boys team, which was obviously a huge experience for me. So I did that for a couple years, and then my junior and senior year in high school, good friend of mine, we coached a travel boys team, 7th and 8th graders, really 8th graders. So Coach Engel got us involved with that and coaching his younger guys, getting them ready for his program. So I did that till I was 21. I turned 21 in August, and then in September, Coach Engel was our athletic director at our high school as well, Middletown High School in Maryland. And I saw him at a football game on a Friday night, like all of us. We go to football games on Friday night. He said, "Hey, can I speak with you?" He said, "Would you be interested in coaching our varsity girls team?" I said, "Coach, yeah." I said, "I had never coached girls before." He said, "Well, it's basketball. I think you'd do a good job." He said, "Come and see me." So I went and saw him the next day, had a long conversation. I met a retired girls basketball coach who was a friend of ours. 2 days later, I met with the principal. Long story short, I took the job. My first year, I'll never forget it. We win our first game. I'm like, man, this is easy. Man, we did a good job. This is easy, and we lost our next 6 in a row. So I came into coaching very quickly. So I stayed in Middletown for 5 years as a varsity coach. And then I had an opportunity to go be a part-time assistant at Mount St. Mary's, a small Division I school right there on the border of Maryland, Pennsylvania. I did that for a year. I was planning on being there for a while. March that same year, I found out that my position was going to be cut, pay cuts. So my position was cut. So then I was out of a job for a little bit. I was fortunate enough to be able to go back to my same high school. That position opened again. I was there for another 6 years as a high school coach. So I spent 11 years as a high school coach. After my 6th year going back, I had an opportunity at the Mount when I was there. I met the assistant there. Her name was Candy Cage. She had moved on at the time. She was an assistant at Georgia Tech. I'll never forget, it's September. I got a phone call from her. She said, look, we got an opening on staff. Are you interested? My wife and I had just gotten married in April. This is September. We had a house. I said, yes, I am interested. She said, well, our head coach is going to be calling you in the next day or two. Long story short, she offered me the job. I took it. I spent 3 years at Georgia Tech. After those 3 years, Candy Case, the assistant, got the job at Loyola College in Baltimore. I went with her as the associate head coach for 4 years. I spent 4 years there. After that, I went back to Mount St. Mary's for a year. And then through all those 11 years as an assistant, I knew I wanted to be a head coach. You know, I'd done the camp tour. I networked like crazy. Had some opportunities, were close a couple times. September, I was planning on going back to the Mount for year number 2. I got a call from a good friend of mine. He said, are you involved in a job? I said, I don't think so. It's late September. I don't know if there's any jobs opening. He said, well, I think you are. Norwich University in Vermont. Called me, flew me up there. I'd never been to Vermont in my life. I didn't know anybody in Vermont.
Probably don't want to go back.
That's all. You're probably right. Great 3 years experience. I called my wife when I was offered the job. I said, look, it's September. It's a chance for me to be a head coach. What do you think? She said, if you want it, let's go do it. So I took the job. We spent 3 years there. Enjoyed those 3 years. Vermont was great. After those 3 years, I had the opportunity to go to Holy Family University in Philadelphia. At the time, one of the top, 10 Division II schools, basketball-wise, in the country. It was a time for me to get back home. My wife's family is 2 hours in Pennsylvania. My family's 2 hours in Maryland. So it's time for us to get back home. So I spent 7 years there. Had a great 7 years. When this job opened 2 years ago now, I thought it was the right time for me to move again. My wife is really, really happy, and my kids that we keep moving south. Vermont, Philadelphia, Aiken. So, us moving south has been a good thing. So I took the job here. I'm excited. I'm glad I did. I'm excited to be here. My family is glad we're here. We've settled in nicely. We're kind of on that routine as all of us coaches and everybody really likes. So it's been a great run. I told somebody this is year number 32 for me that I've been coaching in high school, an assistant, Division I, and now opportunity to be a head coach. So it's been something that as a 6th grader many years ago, I never thought I'd be in this position, but it's been a really, really good profession for me, and I'm glad I did it.
That's awesome. I'm really glad that you made your way here, Coach.
Well, thank you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
And so now to switch gears a little bit more, we're going to go to another segment called Getting Personal. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give each of you guys about 90 seconds to, just give us an update on how you are, how your personal life is going, how things are going for you outside of coaching. So, Coach,
starting again?
How you doing?
Well, it's been great.
Tell us about Vermont.
Vermont. Okay, here's a great story in Vermont, Coach.
Okay.
October the 15th, first day out of that we can practice. I go in the gym at 5 o'clock. It's 30 degrees, no issues. I come out at 7:30. There's 10 inches of snow. I walk outside. I said, snowing already? One of the men's coaches come in. Coach, welcome to Vermont. First winter in Vermont, 110 inches of snow.
Same snow in March that was there in October.
Correct. So yeah, Vermont was interesting. Great place.
Your wife must be a saint. If I walked in and told my wife I was going to Vermont, she'd say, "What day's the season in? I'll meet you at the beach."
That's it. That's it. No, but for me, real fast, Thanksgiving was great. It was a good time to spend with my family. My wife cooks a great meal on Thursday, and all I got to do is sit there and eat it, so that's a good thing. My daughter got operated on Tuesday with her foot, so it's good having her kind of back in a little bit and trying to get her foot healed, getting ready for softball season. As Coach said, right around the corner, a little further for high school kids, but for our family, we're settled in. Thanksgiving was great. A little break for me, 2 days. I didn't have to do a whole lot. Just getting my kids back, so it's good.
All right. How about you, Coach
Oh,
Van? How are you
Life
these days?
is great for me. You talk about progressing as a basketball team. I'm progressing with no time getting up in the morning. Okay, I got a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old. Started out 4 or 5 months ago, up 3 times a night. 2 months later, up two times a night. Last month, 1 time a night. I'm done, baby.
Sleeping
through the night, man.
No wonder you're so
Through
full of
the night.
energy the last couple of weeks.
Love fresh perspective, baby. Love it. So now I can hone some energy, a little bit more energy into some areas that probably should have been there to begin with, but now I finally got some sleep and we're good to go.
You seem more chipper these days.
Appreciate
Well,
that.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Chipper,
that.
is that? I heard that something like that at the press conference the other day. Like I heard a little passion.
You like that? Oh yeah, that's right.
I did hear
fire in
that.
there. I like that.
Like I heard some passion.
Yeah, I did get a little fired up. That was.
I don't know why. I don't know what the reason was, but I just heard about that.
It was a combination of sleep plus being pissed off.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that,
All
I
right.
think those two
Two
make a
together.
good combo.
Okay.
So, Coach Thomas, how are you doing these days?
Well, I'm, talk about sleep. My doctors want me to get one of them dang machines, look like a dang straitjacket over your head and all that. Cause
You snore?
no, I don't snore. I've never snored in my life, but I don't sleep.
Judy.
I don't sleep.
Probably don't sleep the right way
So
either.
he tells me, he said, no wonder you're so grouchy at practice. I'm not grouchy at practice. But he sent one of them sleep things to my house, testing. They're going to monitor you at some company up north somewhere. I put it on the first night. That lasted about 30 seconds. Felt like a straitjacket over my dang head. I'm not wearing this stupid thing. So I throwed it down. The guy calls me the next morning. What happened? You didn't wear it? I said, no, I certainly did not wear it, and don't intend on wearing it either. But I decided to try it. But anyhow, the doctor says that severe non-sleep is 13 to 18% of your night. You quit breathing, so you don't sleep. That's severe. Okay. Well, mine's 40, he said. You ever heard of any nonsense like that in your life? I don't believe none of that. I don't believe none of that. And I'm not grouchy at practice. So, sleep, you don't need it. I can tell you.
Are you
It's
grouchy
way
at
more
home?
than what you think it is. It's not that important. You don't have to have it. I've been going on 60% for years. And intend on keep going on it.
I'll have to try that recipe then.
But anyhow, what I wanted to say that in the last 2 weeks, I've had the opportunity to speak to veterans. The Wednesday before Veterans Day, I got to speak 250 veterans up in Columbia at the VA hospital. It was very special, very special. A lot of elderly veterans that I got to interact with, tell a few funny stories with. It meant a lot to me. And then last week I spoke at down at the Cowden Plantation to wounded veterans. They have a hunt down there. They take them out hunting and stuff. So I had an opportunity to speak to them. So that was, it was really good for me. The couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, sometimes I tease a lot and I clown a lot. Do I really? But truthfully, we don't know how thankful we should be sometimes and how privileged we are and how much we do. So speaking to veterans was very, very rewarding to me. The heroes, that's the heroes, you know, and that was very good the last 2 weeks.
I bet those stories are good too.
I'm telling you, when they started sitting there, when they started slapping their knee, I knew I had them. And I let her rip in. I let her rip in. They just kept coming out and coming out. As long as they're slapping their knee, I know
you got them.
I got them. It was really good. It was really good. So.
Absolutely. Well, nobody knows how to control a crowd quite like you, Coach.
Well,
Thomas.
I don't know if I know how to control. Maybe get it out of control. That
There
might
you
be
go.
better.
It's okay too sometimes.
Hey, you know, they claim the crowd got out of control up there in Columbia Saturday night. You talking about a little plastic bottle or something? What in the world? I mean,
What was Saturday night?
they had some football game up there in Columbia, and they
that
said
what
a
it
few
was?
people threw a plastic bottle on the field. You know, well, let's jump on the bandwagon here and say everybody's throwing plastic bottles. There might have been one or two come out of the thing. Wasn't from my section, or I controlled my section.
You had that under control.
My section was under control.
Absolutely.
Didn't come out of that.
So let's go ahead and switch things up. Let's go ahead and talk about some action outside of USC Aiken. We'll start off with, you know, we talked about this last week, but there's been a lot of developments. Let's talk about the top four situation. I know a lot of guys' top fours have changed. So let's start off with you guys. How do you feel about the new top four going into the college football playoff?
You heard it here first. Here's my top four. I'm going Clemson, number one.
Okay.
Number one, Clemson, I think, plays number 7, Miami. They're automatically in. Number 2, we got.
They gonna beat Miami just.
Oh yeah,
Just like
so
that.
They're in. They're in. Baby.
So I'm gonna call Mark Rick. Tell him not even. Don't spend the money coming up there.
Don't show up. Coach, don't be
Oh,
a
boy.
hater. They're number one in the country. They
Oh,
just
really?
whooped South Carolina.
Really?
But anyway,
We'll talk about that in a second.
so number 2, Oklahoma plays what? TCU, right?
Yep.
They're in. Number 4, Auburn plays Georgia, right?
Yep.
They're in.
Auburn's
Here-
in.
Auburn's in, and here's my prediction. 3, Wisconsin loses to 8, Ohio State,
Alabama's in.
and Alabama's in. Alabama's in.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Wisconsin's going to be the last undefeated team to go down. Ohio State's going to beat them, but they can't jump over Alabama. Alabama takes 4. Ohio State gets 5, and there you go.
You
Who
spent a
wins
lot
it
of
all?
time thinking about
Well,
this. You were ready for this question,
I was
weren't you?
ready for this question.
Who wins it
Last
all?
year I didn't. Huh?
Who wins it?
You know, I'd like to say Clemson, but man, it's so hard. It's
Did you hear that?
golly. I'm gonna say Clemson. I'm gonna say Clemson. I'm hoping for another repeat. Clemson.
That's a
and
bold
Alabama.
prediction.
That's me too.
That's what I think. That's what a lot of people are looking for. That's what I'm hoping for.
So you know it won't happen.
You probably won't, but we can always hope.
We can, yes we can. We can
Right?
hope.
I'm going for it. I want something in South Carolina again.
Coach over there, he's got like a dark horse coming from somewhere.
I can hear his brow furrowing from here. I'm interested to hear his thoughts.
Well, that Clemson word just throws him for a loop.
South
I
Carolina's
love
in?
Clemson.
South Carolina?
I think Clemson's outstanding, but I don't think they're going to get past Miami Saturday. I think Miami's going to pull the upset. Mark Rick is a special person. They just lost last week. Special people do special things in tough times. I think Mark Rick upsets them Saturday, knocks them out, so I think Miami's in. I think Auburn beats Georgia again, and Auburn's the hottest team out there right now. I think they're in. I think Oklahoma wins, and I think Alabama gets in on the same scenario Coach said.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it goes into the Final Four. I think it goes into the Final Four with Oklahoma 1, probably Miami 2, Auburn 3, and Alabama 4. I think Alabama beats Miami, and I think Auburn beats Oklahoma, and I think it's an all-SEC Iron Bowl
rematch.
I'd say the powers to
That's
be.
kind of wild, but maybe I just want that because that'd be fun to watch.
It would be fun.
I feel bad. Now football gets a feel for what basketball has, right? the powers that be in the selection committee, now they got to feel a little heat on what it's like to make a tough decision. You combined all the RPI, the eye test, all that, and you know the powers that be are just praying that there's 4 teams that win. All top 4 teams win and don't lose, because there's going to be absolute utter chaos when 1 or 2 of those teams lose.
How can Alabama not be one of the top 4 teams?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to keep them out.
Even with 1 loss, how can they not?
Yeah, but their 1 loss is a tougher loss than anybody else's. They went to Auburn and lost the last.
Exactly.
That's an interesting point, but by the same token, Georgia has the same loss in Auburn. That's their only loss as well.
Well, Georgia's got a chance to get in. They got to beat Auburn.
Personally,
I wouldn't want to play Auburn. Now, I'm going to tell you, beating somebody in baseball twice in 3 weeks is tough. But beating somebody in football twice in 3 weeks, that's got to be really tough to do.
Here's the big one. If the top 3 teams win and Georgia ends up winning, how can Georgia not be in over Alabama?
absolutely. And
They go from 6, and then all of a sudden Alabama's going to take them.
how can you
That's the
have
one scenario I'm not sure.
how can you
Alabama
have the SEC champion not in the playoff but have Alabama in? That would be.
I think the winner is Saturday.
I think it's a guarantee.
Right. But I think if the loser's out.
Yeah, I think
They're
that's
going to have 2 or 3 losses.
Right.
Because Auburn already has
Auburn
2.
would have 2 losses. They lost to
Georgia's
Clemson.
got 1. So,
And that's why I say Ohio State wins. Ohio State's got 2 losses and they're out.
Yeah, I say Ohio State is out of it regardless.
That's the only series. Well, no, if TCU
Were to beat Oklahoma.
then Alabama's in. Right.
Yeah.
But so I guess if those two teams lose, then I guess Alabama could be in. But
Not that my humble opinion matters for much, but I think this time
Fun to
next
talk
week,
about.
I think our by this time next week, our top 4 is going to be, and this is in no particular order. I'm not into that, but I think Georgia, Miami, Oklahoma, and I still say that Auburn can sneak in with some, tweaking here and there. I think Auburn could end up. Well, no, Alabama. Sorry, not Auburn, Alabama. It would be Alabama.
Yeah.
So Clemson, Alabama,
No,
Georgia,
you said Miami
and
a while
Miami.
ago now.
Yeah, not Miami. Sorry, Oklahoma, Georgia, Miami,
And Alabama.
then Alabama.
in Alabama.
That's what I think.
Georgia, and that's the scenario that I said. The one that would question that for me is Auburn being able to beat Georgia again.
Right.
That I've said Auburn, but I also know that's going to be really tough to do.
Yes.
I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
that's going to be
this
tough.
time in 4 or 5 years, we're going to be talking about the top 8 instead of the top 4.
Yeah, then
And that's gonna be good.
10,
And then
11,
it'll be 10,
12
and
be
then it'll be
fussy.
12. And you're right.
Well, to move on a little bit from college football, we all have a fun time with that. Let's talk a little bit about NFL football. We've had a lot of surprise teams this season with the emergence of the Rams and the Eagles. The two quarterbacks that everybody's been watching have been Goff and Wentz. Have you guys been keeping up with the NFL this season a lot? Or?
Carolina Panthers are going to win.
That's an interesting take. My quarterback has a torn collarbone.
I'm
Has a
not going to
broken.
sprain my ankle jumping on and off the bandwagon. You know what I mean?
My quarterback has a broken collarbone and is better than yours.
I still got to cheer for him.
I spent 7 years in Philadelphia, and the Eagles were terrible at the end. And
As soon
everybody,
as you got out of there.
and we leave, they get better when they bring in Wentz. He is a good guy. He is a good quarterback. They are fun to watch. They're having a good time. I don't think they can win it all because I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady.
Well, the
Much as I'd
Houston
like to-
Texans are on tonight. We're going to always pull for them. Why? They have 4 Carolina players on their team. Wow. Y'all said I pulled
How'd
for
you know that?
Carolina. I saw it on the scoreboard
I thought
Saturday
you-
night
I
at the
thought you
game.
might.
They put it up there.
I was going to say, you didn't know that right off the top of
Oh,
your head.
no, they put it up on the big screen at the game
For
Saturday
North
night.
Carolina or South Carolina?
Did
North
I
Carolina?
say Carolina?
You said Carolina. You mean North Carolina? Chapel Hill?
No, I do not mean no baby
All the,
blue.
all the people watching, man. Don't kill me.
No.
There's only one Carolina around
There's
here.
only one. Tell them.
Yeah, an unfortunate result Saturday, but I like to think that wasn't the Carolina that you and I watched all season long.
Well, I mean, Carolina played. They had a good year considering
tried.
all things. I mean, I think when A.J. Turner went out in the first quarter, it was just like done. They've already lost their number one running back. Now they already lost their best wide receiver. They lost their other one last week.
Shi Smith, yeah.
I think they were out of gas.
It was hard because the miscommunication with Edwards and Bentley on that first pick six. I think they just weren't able to get it down for the rest of the game. But
they're so young. But I mean, Clemson should have won the game and did win the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Clemson's got a better team, there's no doubt about that. They should have won the game, and if Clemson gets in the Final Four, I'm definitely not I'm not. I care about Pacer sports more than I do anything. I do go and watch some football, and my best friend's Ray Tanner. So what am I supposed to do? Tell him I'm pulling for Clemson? That
Can't do
wouldn't
it.
go over very well.
All those nice seats and all those extra things.
There was a couple of us sitting at the table that were just going to let you say that. So that's coming out on that. We're going to let you speak that.
You think them Clemson fans going to come? I like Clemson. Is that how you say it?
I don't know. How's Coach stand?
Clemson? No, I like Clemson. I really do. I just tease you. Because you seem to be really a Clemson fan.
You know what I am? I'm biased.
Because he's an ACC fan.
Well,
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
I'll be honest. I'm a Clemson fan. I do like the ACC. Born and raised in North Carolina, but I just love his platform.
Yeah.
I love what he's about, what he speaks, and he's not afraid to be bold and confident in areas that the media just don't really embrace. He speaks freely about his faith, and it's hard not to like that type of thing. And I don't know. Yeah, I mean, probably more so than that than anything else. I'm a big Dabo fan.
I will be honest. I'm not a big NFL guy, but I do like college. I like to watch college football. And as you know, I have a history with football. I mean, I played football. I almost went and played football in college. So, I have a history and I love college football. I tease a lot because I have friends, some sitting back here right now at the same table. One of them's the biggest Carolina fan in the world, and the other one's the biggest Clemson fan in the world. I took the Clemson fan with me Saturday night to the game, and it's fun. I like to see how carried away they get, really. But what I really care about is Pacer athletics.
Absolutely.
That's what I care about.
And that's what we all care about. It's a great culture we built here, and it's a lot of fun coming out here with you guys every other week and talking Pacer sports at Mellow Mushroom. It's a great time. So thank you guys for being with us again. It's awesome to have you guys out here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And so for Coach Mark Miller, Coach Mark Vanderslice, and Coach Kenny Thomas, I'm Jordan Phillips. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again in not next week, but the week after that. Thank you guys for tuning in.